NSFW, high school teachers, what juicy drama is going around your high school? Middle school here. Us teachers noticed that the female students had been highly interested in each other, and we joked with one another that we thought experimentation happened in college. So, a parent arrives to ask her daughter's teachers, principal, and counselor for advice on what to do with her child. Come to find out, her daughter had not been coming home at night because she was participating in lesbian orgies with her friends. One of my co-workers got fired and got beat the out of by a gang of angry parents on an ordinary sunny Tuesday. Turns out this guy was making these kids fight in this sort of tournament. The winners would receive a 10 that semester. Some tougher kids got hurt real bad. He'll never be able to teach again and he had to leave town because everyone wanted to hurt him. Rumors say that the videos are online but I haven't bothered to look. Hoping for the awkward moment when a student realizes who their teacher is on Reddit. Ducking hippos, man. They are our greatest threat. They will kill and destroy everything you love. They won't stop. They will literally fight to the death. Some kid brought a knife and a list of people he wanted to kill yesterday, so that's just about how things are going. Bunnies. A girl came to school one day with 5 bunnies in her book bag, and by the end of the day had sold every bunny for 25 apiece. Every day, teachers would be stopping kids and looking through book bags and lunch boxes. It was chaos, and the bunnies were still being sold. Occasionally you'd see someone with a lump in their jacket with an ear poking out bunny, a cracked lunchbox bunny. Eventually, this turned into a full black market bunny selling ring. The leader had recruited other sellers, and they had designated bunny trading spots. Our school is infamous for gangs and drugs, so this was a pleasant surprise to most. Over time, a bunny selling trickled to a stop, but occasionally one will pop up. Our HS drama club is doing a production of The Diary of Anne Frank. I teach social studies and I'm pretty sure this sums up mine and my colleagues' attitudes to high school drama. Man, high schools in other countries have some intense drama. Back when I was in high school, in New Zealand, the most dramatic thing I can remember happening is someone drawing an enormous, like 100 meters long, D on our sports field with weed killer. The field was in a lowered area from the main school buildings. You had to take quite a lot of stairs to get to it, so you got a really good view of the whole thing whenever you were at the school and walking past it. Damn. It seems there are a lot of high schools in NZ that had this prank done. I'm talking about Newlands College, for those of you guessing. When I was in HS, a rumor started floating around that our English teacher, 9/10 by the way, had had relations with one of the senior football players and gotten knocked up. After a while, he had a kind of visible baby bump, and after this rumor surfaced during the second semester, she got a long-term sub for a few weeks and showed back up looking pretty alright. But no bump. Even one of the teachers I hung out with after graduating thinks she actually did get pregnant by this kid and hit the abort button. A beloved teacher and coach got charged with ducking a student. The teacher had a wife. The student was a guy. Not a teacher, but at my former high school the vice principal recently got fired for breaking into people's houses and stealing prescription pills. Every time I got in trouble in high school he said that I should look up to him because he was a respectable adult with a good job. Lol. A couple of months after graduation, a friend of mine told me she'd had a 2-year-long affair with her English journalism teacher. Last year, a kid shoved a lollipop into some other kid's ear. It busted his eardrum as it started bleeding and supposedly he couldn't hear properly for the rest of the semester. The high school I used to go to has made a newspaper for something bad nearly every year since it opened. It was a good school but had some bad things happen. The year the school opened, one of the teachers, we will call him Ted, got caught for repeatedly having sex with one of his students. Ted was a young, very attractive guy. He coached cross country, taught the highest level math and was loved by pretty much everyone. Long story short, he was sent to jail and the girl transferred. Flash forward 3 years. I'm at a concert with my mom. I know it's lame. Her friend, some college girls and a friend of mine. Everyone got drunk but me and I started talking to the college girls. Apparently one of the girls was going to get married to Ted in a month. Best part was that she forgave Ted for having sex with that high school girl because he was high at the time. Also, the reason he could not come to the concert with us was because he was in jail for drug possession. Bethany and Deandra have been best friends for like 4 years. But Bethany started hanging out with Amber all the time and Deandra got jealous and told Bethany she'd better drop Amber. Bethany is all. Deandra has pulled the sit before and I'm not about to beg for her friendship. And Deandra is all. Things are different now. So these days Bethany and Deandra sit on opposite sides of the room and talk loudly. But not to each other. And they both have to find new roommates for next year. Lol, you cannot make this it up. My final year of school, the goth thing was pretty much over and the emo thing was at its height. A couple of the senior kids still considered themselves goth and did not like the emo kids. Anyways, there was these 3 emo girls who were pretty much universally not liked by anyone. They seemed to be emo for the sake of the attention. I know, right? And would actually read other emo kids for not looking as good as them. They were pretty much the mean girls of emo. As I said, the goths hated the emos and the emos hate the emo mean girls. Around Christmas time, arguments were breaking out in front of everyone. One of the mean girls ended up getting jumped and left the school. There is more to it than that, but pretty much, she was one of the main reasons in why a big group of friends no longer talk to each other anymore. I think about month before the summer, these 2 emo mean girls were causing trouble and running their mouths at the goths. The goths got a hold of one of them after school and pretty much beat the living it out of her. She was actually hospitalized. The main rumor was she was thrown headfirst into a wall and had her eye socket knocked out of place. A bunch of goths were expelled from the school. The police were involved and all the normal kids collectively said WTF. It's all that was talked about the final few weeks before finishing forever. Obligatory, not a teacher. But some kid at my school got pistol whipped last weekend. Apparently he got a little too close to some guy's girlfriend and the dude arranged a beat up posing as the girl. Nobody really feels sorry for this kid due to the fact that he's negative as duck, has no regard for personal space, and is annoying. Happened to me last year. I was working as a one-to-one in the middle school when my supervisor decided that the staff at the high school was inadequate and a few people needed to get fired. To be fair, they did. Staff was horrible. So he asked me to go to the high school for a few months to assist with the transitions as he needed somebody competent to be able to work with students. Well, the staff kind of knew what was up and didn't like me being there, so they concocted a huge plot to get me fired. I recall one such incident in the gym where one of my students needed to be very lightly restrained and one of the really bad staff members came by and did absolutely stupid shit she wasn't supposed to do. I prevented this kid from full-on face assaulted her but still had good control in making sure he was safe. She went to my supervisor to complain about how I wrestled with students, put them into MMA moves and was hurting them. There was a big to-do about the situation, but thankfully my supervisor was confident in my ability and the gym teacher, whom I'd never met before that day, was an upstanding guy who told the truth. I suppose I'm also thankful the school had cameras in the gym so that the head of the program could review tapes and see it was all complete bullet. From my understanding, this was a collusion between not only aides whom should have stuck together but also one of the special education teachers who didn't like change. After I graduated, my gym teacher, were arrested for having sex with students. The female gym teacher fell in love with one of the boys. High school student, and not even sharing drama, but thought this is kinda relevant. Anyway, at my school we had an amazing teacher who literally knew everything. Students would literally come up to her and give her gossip. She knew about stuff like which regional kid gave which or 10 a blowjob in the sports center, the time I first smoked weed and all kinda it. Best part? She didn't get any of us in trouble. In all honesty, it was kinda nice to have her around. I miss her. These two kids in my school, Eric and Dylan, keep getting bullied and administration isn't doing anything. They're kind of shady characters, but I think they'd get picked on less if they didn't wear trench coats so much. We have a very openly gay flamboyant male student who was beaten up by a group of the tough jocks for telling all of his friends about having a crush on one of the top sports players in the school. As it turns out, he had been secretly meeting this guy in parking lots and secret locations for months for hookups. After the jock let his friends beat him up for the rumors, he posted screenshots of their conversations and NSFW exchanged pics on all social media platforms for the whole student body to read. I was really close to my art teachers, so after I graduated high school I'd occasionally go back to high school to visit. A year or two after I graduated, there was some intense drama brewing on the day I visited and I got to hear all the gossip. Apparently a girl and guy were having sex in the middle of class time in the stairway. They are really strict about students in the halls when it's class time, so if a teacher even sees you you're already suspicious. Sounds travel, obviously. So a teacher found them mid-thrust. The guy ran before teacher got a good look at his face and left the girl standing there with her pants down. Anything after this point hadn't been resolved by the time I left, and never bothered to ask about a continuation because I don't care too much. But I'd imagine the girl ratting the guy out, especially because he ditched her, and them both getting into major trouble. My high school was very strict and nothing like this happened when I was in school, or I didn't know about it, in my own world. So that teenagers were so horny that they'd do something this ballsy stuck to me. I've already graduated uni for over a year now, so this was a while back. Sorry it's not recent juice. I'm teacher. Apparently a student tried to commit suicide after he passed a video of himself eating ass, expecting it to garner appreciation from his fellow students. It did not. I guess it wasn't a clean ass. Did not watch it. Obviously. I teach 9th grade. My senior year of high school, some kids from our rival high school snuck onto our football field and used weed killer to draw a huge dingus on our football field. Best part is that it was at that time Google Maps must have been doing their flyover, and for years when you looked at our football field there it was. Best senior prank ever emo. My junior year English teacher loved my high school more than anything. He made it his whole life. After I graduated, our new president-principal combo went through and fired almost all the teachers that student loved, including him. After that he went missing. His favorite book to teach was Into the Wild and I just know he pulled one of those. He was last spotted leaving church and then a duffel bag with his wallet and phone were found abandoned on a beach 2 hours from where we lived. Never heard from again. There was all kinds of crazy drama at my school after I graduated though. This was like the least of it. Edit. Fixing words. I do some part-time strength and conditioning coaching with the high school wrestlers. One of them is the cheerleader homecoming queen's somewhat homely, less popular, little brother. Homecoming queen's boyfriend is of course the quarterback homecoming king. Typical high school power couple, right? Well, all was going swimmingly until she was found under the bleachers with the sister of another one of my wrestlers. So the quarterback is now made fun of for turning the homecoming queen lesbian. And both of the wrestler boys frequently hear your sister gets more pussy than you do. High school kids are cruel, man. Not a teacher but still kind of in the loop. There was one kid at the school who was pretty normal, mostly hanging out on the playground, playing basketball, relaxing, occasionally getting into minor trouble but nothing much worse than some graffiti. Well, one day, this kid is out shooting some b-ball outside of the school when a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in his neighborhood. Kid got in one little fight and his mom went nuts, overreacted, and sent him to live in California. We didn't hear much from him but the last word I got was that he was living it up at his rich uncle's house. Good for him. The head football coach of my school is currently suspended and being investigated for exposing himself. He got slightly drunk at a football camp, was grilling hot dogs for the players, put his D in a hot dog bun, turned around showing every student there, and said this, "You think those are big dogs? Look at this." High school student here. People were betting up to you accrued 10,000 on FIFA games. A kid got expelled for dealing LSD in the school. And some dude hooked up with a girl and he put his hand in her mouth and said, "I am in control now." I dropped out a few months ago due to mental health concerns. But that's what I've kept up with. We had 6 suicides in 4 years and as a response the administration made every Tuesday milk and cookies day where students got out of class early to head to the cafeteria to get milk and cookies. Not a teacher. IT support for a school. Being as unspecific as possible. But a kid had his school provided tablet rescinded for having DDoSing software. network penetration software, and even software for doxing on it. This kid is 11-year-old. Anyways, he kept coming back into the office asking for his account tablet back, which was obviously a no. Then he suddenly stopped. We thought he'd just given up. Nope. Turns out him and his family have upped and left to Iraq. Welp. That is both unexpected and terrifying. A girl from my rival high school sent a video to her BF of her sticking a toothbrush, bristle side first, in her butt and repeatedly brushing her butthole. Needless to say, they broke up the next week and the video got sent around and ended up going viral in my hometown. Next year comes along and she transferred to my high school. I'm pretty sure nothing changed and she was still made fun of until she graduated. 2014. Poor girl. I felt bad for her situation and tried to ignore it as best as possible. I did try talking to her once to see if she was okay, but she was a total itch to me. Totally understandable. So I continued on with ignoring her. I'm not a teacher, but was a student that graduated with her, and it seems like her butt brushing stunt has subsided over the last few years. Not my school but at our rival school. This girl had gone missing from a nearby college, and it turned out that the football coach of our rival school had abducted and killed her. It was a big deal. Edit. Apparently everyone knows it's a big deal. High school student here. We had a girls soccer coach who accidentally put a vid of him jerking off on his Snapchat story, which all of the girls soccer team saw. Apparently he meant to send it to his wife, but people at my school, for 3 months after, were still like, why did the girls soccer team have him added on Snapchat? And my 2 cents has always been, I used to have my football coach's number. He would send out messages if practice was moved or something. So maybe he found the girls checked their Snapchats more than his messages? During a bar mitzvah, a kid got a blowjob from his sister whilst drunk. Apparently, it was all recorded. Principal caught a couple of kids vaping in construction class. Construction teacher didn't notice because the kids have him a vape too. There's this emo girl named Cami and her friend who's less emo named Carrie. Anyway, Cami and Carrie were the best of friends. But on like Tuesday, Cami told Carrie she'd hang out with her, but suddenly cancelled plans, and it was later revealed that Cami had spent the day with her equally emo boyfriend rather than with Carrie. Carrie was mad about it, and on Wednesday Cami said she was having some bad headaches and Carrie was like, oh it's good, I'll help you, and gave her 2 Xanax pills. But Cami thought they were like ibuprofen or something, so while she was going down the hall to get water for the pills, Carrie put heroin, weed, conflicting reports, into Cami's bag and reported her to the APs. Her blood pressure dropped from the Xanax and now she's in the hospital. And Carrie, being the genius she is, told one of her friends who reported it to the APs, so now she's in alternative school and probably going to be expelled. They're both sophomores. Not totally sure, but I had 5 journal entries yesterday. We journal every Friday and I let students decide if they want me to read their entries or not, about people who are unnecessarily mean. People who are mean to the nicest people. How breakups don't give you license to insult people. How people hide behind Twitter. How having fun with people you love is so much better than being petty, etc. They're all from a group of friends. I also had 3 journal entries about the importance of standing behind your friends. How saying stuff that's true shouldn't be taken as an insult. How people are weak-skinned. How I am strong. How people need to stop playing the victim. How people need to mind their own damn business. How people have the right to say and do what they want and do what's best for them and not for others, etc. Very interested in the dirt when it comes out. I'm hella late, but one of the coaches made a kid do sit-ups into someone else's bare arsehole because they were both late. That school got hit with a huge lawsuit, lol. This is currently going on at my old Catholic high school. One of the most beloved guidance counselors and the head coach of the basketball team was very suddenly suspended without pay and fired. Like one day here, the next day gone. The reason? She's married to a woman. Turns out her sister-in-law got upset and forwarded wedding pictures to my school, who fired her because it went against Catholic morals or something like that. But the guidance counselor is now suing my school for discrimination. Not because they fired her for being gay, But because they didn't fire other teachers for going against Catholic morals, there were divorced teachers, another gay teacher, a few who had kids out of wedlock, and one who got her nudes leaked. The president and principal were suspended by the archdiocese. I'm not sure what's happened since, but I think it was going to trial. Not a teacher, but I got some pretty juicy gossip. So, in my school, we have 2 gym teachers, a male and a female. Both of the gym teachers were married to other people. But did that stop them from ducking in their offices? Hell no. They left their spouses after having this affair for months and got married to each other. They still teach at my school. 2. One kid has emotional problems and cuts herself. 7 other kids which have been perfectly stable are now doing it for attention. Mental health should be talked about, but acting on it too much. Oh dear, she's cut herself again. Let's send her home and gossip about it, as teachers in front of other students can create copycats. I'm a student, but the girls' basketball coach was just arrested for beating his wife the day they lost the championship. It was also evident he had an affair with another married math teacher at the middle school. Well, there's a chlamydia outbreak among the junior and senior class right now, so there's that. I'm a student. Yesterday someone was supposed to shoot up the school. Nothing happened. Not a teacher, but one student leaked some girl's nudes. Deans found out. Dad of girl found out. He is now looking to sue the school. Not a teacher, but recently 2 people at my high school got into some drama. It ended up with one of them dumping a jar of baby powder that was supposed to be sugar on the other. One of our teachers called the police and got the drug dogs to sniff around and found out that it wasn't sugar, but ended up about 12 other students with drugs in their locker and got arrested. It was pretty intense cause it was like 15% of my peers getting arrested. Kinda funny though. A teacher put a nude photo on her Snapchat story. It was on there for 16 minutes before she realized what she did. A lot of the kids who have her added as a friend saw it, and the teacher was forced to retire. Obligatory, not a teacher. But anyways, this always cracks me up. One of the teachers at my former high school, we'll call her MRS, capital M, was married to the principal, MR, capital M, who was her 3rd husband in 7 years. Anyways, she was hired as a leadership program teacher. Somehow, she ended up as one of the physics teachers. No clue how, she has no experience in physics. Well, MRS, M started having an affair with MR, capital S, the other leadership teacher. This went on for 2 years. But in my senior year this got to its peak. MR, M found out about MRS, M's and MRS's shenanigans and stormed down the hall in the middle of classes. Pulled MRS out of his current class and had a good old-fashioned fist fight. I was 2 doors down and saw the whole thing, as well as most of the senior class. So after this fight, MRS, M divorced MR, M and married MR, capital S, her now 4th husband, and MR, M married the superintendent to spite MRS, capital M. Best part, they still all work together now. About 3 years later, the subject is still a touchy one when talking with the teachers, as apparently MRS, M, now MRS, S, is now having an affair with one of the hall monitors.